Good evening, eBay and YouTube people. This is just a little trial run on comparing BGS versus PSA cards. My name is Cyrus. I'm a chemistry teacher by day, and by night, I like to look at sports cards, invest in them, and also compare the sport of basketball more than anything to collecting everything else. Right now, obviously, the sports card market is on fire. Everybody knows that collects. I just want to talk today about a couple things. One, the conversation about BGS versus PSA grading, and two, about the emergence of SGC as a new grading company. I recently sent out a SGC submission. I'm hoping to have that in soon, and then I could go over that mail day and post it. But for now, I just want to talk about the difference between PSA and BGS. So let's look at these Jordans. So right here, here's a Jordan. This is his 89 Fleer card. This is his fourth year. So his rookie is 86, 87 is his second year, 88 is his third year, which I have to the right over here. And these are both PSA. And PSA right now is taking a very long time to turn around cards. So what I've been doing is collecting cards from eBay purchases, and that way I can have PSA in my collection and in my investment portfolio. So I got these two recently. Yeah, it was a little bit with the hype of The Last Dance, but also I think Jordan has excellent long-term intrinsic value to the sports card market. So it's really good to have one of the greatest players in your inventory. This was not that expensive. I think I picked this up for 80 bucks. This PSA 9, it might have been a little less actually. Keep in mind that eBay does charge taxes, so you want to calculate that when you're bidding on an auction. That's really important to remember. So let's look a little more closely. So PSA does have some interesting things that not everybody does. So for one, they have a very generic label. You're always going to have this red surrounded label around white, which I like. I think that's awesome. So that consistency is really important, and you'll hear other people talk about that as well. The consistency in PSA is great. Their turnaround time, unfortunately, is not that great. Another great thing about PSA is how thin the slab is. If you look at the slab on PSA, it's much thinner. Let's compare to this Damian Lillard BGS card. Look at the slab thickness there. It's a lot thicker. But now let's look at some of the advantages to BGS is that you have subgrades. And I really like subgrades because that gives you justification for why the card is that grade. So we know this is a gem mint. Damian Lillard, I really like Lillard. I know he's not in the GOAT conversation like Jordan is, but he's still a great player, and I really like to keep his cards, hold them. And I think this is long-term value stuff. It's not stuff that I'm flipping right now, just like the Jordans. So, yeah, I think Lillard will have some future value, and I'm definitely holding him. This is probably one of my favorite cards that I currently have. It is a Giannis quad 9.5. So here's something really important. That quad 9.5, all 9.5s, really makes a difference. Because for one, it looks cleaner. It's like, well, okay, look, the centering, the edges, the corners, the surface, they're all the same grade. It looks cleaner, it looks more consistent. I like that consistency, that symmetry of a quad 9.5 versus this Lillard. It doesn't really have the quad 9.5 value. It's still a great card. It's still a 9.5. The overall grade is the same, but you don't have that consistency of all 9.5s. It's got a 9 on the surface. That's one thing that I think PSA is lacking, and I think everybody who's in the hobby and has been in it for some time realizes that and knows the difference between BGS and PSA. The nice thing about PSA is that they have the Gem Mint 10. That's far more common than the 10 on a BGS scale. In fact, I don't even own a 10 from the BGS scale because it's so difficult to obtain. I've got tons of 9.5s. As you can see, I've got a nice RC of Damian Lillard is a 9.5, and a really nice RC of Giannis is a 9.5. So I've got quite a few 9.5s. And speaking of 9.5s, this is another really cool one that I have that I've had for years. I collect Lakers a lot, and this Kareem 9.5 is really awesome too. One of my favorite cards in my collection. It's a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar auto 9.5 with a 10 grade on the auto, which is a really great grade, and that's a really sweet card with the Hall of Fame on there. And it's numbered as well, which I really like. Numbered, it's actually the first one numbered, 1 out of 30. Really nice card there. So, yeah, just a little compare and contrast of BGS versus PSA. Once I get the SGC submission in, I'd definitely like to include that as well, so we can compare that too. I will post that once I get that in. One thing I wanted to talk about too, that I didn't mention at the beginning that I'd like to discuss, but I want to, is what to do when this happens. So this is an awesome Drew Brees card, numbered to only, I believe, 15. I think it is. Yeah, it's 15. It's the last one in the print run. It's a 15 out of 15. I love this card. But an oh crap moment happened, and look at that. Big old mark right there. Does not look good. I mean, a nice grade, 9. I mean, the centering was 10, you know, the rest of it is a 9. It's a nice card. That ruins the value of this card. So at this point, what I'd like to do with this card, because I had that happen, is submit it to SGC and give them a chance to grade this. That way I can do a cross grade. So cross grading is actually something that not everybody talks about, but that's something that SGC offers, which I'd like to look into once I start observing their grading patterns and realize how their market value is going to compare to PSA versus BGS. I think that's really important that they get some credibility in the marketplace, because it'd be nice to have more competition, and I believe that they're going to stick to their turnaround time. Turnaround time is crucial, as we all know in the grading community, that we really want our cards graded quickly, graded fairly, and graded with integrity and honesty. I think that those are all very important factors. But I've yet to get my submission from SGC. Like I said, I'd like to compare all 3 side by side. Unfortunately, I won't be able to compare the exact same card side by side. That would be really cool to have, you know, 3 9s side by side of the same exact card. I don't think that's going to happen for some time, but we can definitely compare 3 9s or 3 9.5s of well, not 3 9.5s, because PSA doesn't have a 9.5, but we can compare 3 9s from SGC, PSA, and BGS. And I think that would be cool to compare the 3, really see how SGC is doing overall as their grading is concerned. So that's all I got for now. Take care, YouTube. Take care, everybody. Do hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. If you have any comments, if you want me to add some more content, if you have anything that you think I could improve on, I am just doing this just to get some information out into the collecting world. I think I've been in the hobby for a long time, and I have a lot to offer to the grading and collecting community overall, especially when it comes to basketball. I don't do a whole lot of football, but Drew Brees is my guy. I do collect Drew Brees, and yeah, look forward to doing more of these videos, and take care.